Growing up, I felt that I had 4 career options. Either I could be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, or I could be a failure to my family. Faced with some tough decisions. But needless to say, as a Parisian-born Iranian immigrant living in the Bronx, becoming a doctor was strongly recommended. The art of the hustle is to do the unconventional to allow for serendipity to take over. And today I'm going to share with you 2 personal stories that I believe embody this message. 2 weeks into my freshman year, when I didn't make the basketball team, I started the Quidditch team. Now, if you're not familiar with this sport, it's a combination of dodgeball, rugby, and basketball, all while running around with a broom between your legs. Yep. So try explaining to your immigrant parents that your grade slipped because you had to prepare for a very important Quidditch match against NYU on live Japanese TV. So a single Facebook post that I shared online ultimately led to over 150 people showing up every single week to play this game. Fast forward to sophomore year. A good friend of mine was working on building software that would remind patients to take their medication on time. One single software with implications to impact hundreds of thousands, even millions of lives. I was hooked from there. That's when the entrepreneurial bug first bit. Now let me share you where that bug bite took me. I'm in my dorm room in New York, now inspired, cold emailing hundreds of entrepreneurs and investors throughout the country, wanting nothing more but to learn and to hopefully meet new people. To the folks out west, I said that I'll be on the next flight out to meet you, and that I only want 20 minutes of your time. As you can imagine, not many were enticed by my offer, but one partner at a venture capital firm in San Francisco said, if you're serious, meet us tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I called my father, told him I was going to borrow a few $100s, and that I was on my way to the airport. Now, he had a tough time understanding, but I rested him assured everything was going to be okay, and I got on that flight, and I was there the next day. I was nervous. I was able to meet other members of the team. But the fact of the matter was that I really had no idea what venture capital even was. Or what startups even really were. But I genuinely wanted to learn and immerse myself in this world. But by the time I got back to my hotel room, I was convinced that I didn't belong. You see, on paper, I wasn't the most attractive candidate or applicant, or here I was, this 20-year-old kid from a local state school in New York, trying to land opportunities that were more so suited for the Ivy Leagues and the MBAs of the world, particularly in venture capital. So I asked the concierge at the hotel where I could eat my last supper, because I was convinced I'm not coming back to San Francisco. Per his recommendation, I ended up at a Chinese restaurant around the block, and as I finished my meal, and I got up to leave, I heard my name being called from across the restaurant. It was the partner who I had met with previously that morning, alongside with one of his colleagues, waving me over to their table. I joined them. We enjoyed a very nice, much more comfortable conversation around some tea. Flew back to New York, and I was hired full-time shortly thereafter. So what is a story about Quidditch and a flight to San Francisco? What do they have in common? Well, if I didn't post on Facebook to see who was interested in this game, no one would have showed up, and I sure as heck wouldn't have been on Japanese TV. And if I didn't send those emails or gotten onto that flight or even asked the concierge for his opinion, none of that beautiful serendipity would have materialized. So you see, hustle comes in different forms, whether it's taking cross-country flights spontaneously or getting banned by Google for maxing out their 2,000 email per day policy. Yeah. It's saying yes and allowing all those no's that you keep on hearing fuel you and propel you forward. At the same time, it's not letting your age, your background, race, religion, immigration status, your family's immigration status, or any other factor deter you from where you want to go or from clicking send on that email. Now, when I look back at the last 3 years since that opportunity in San Francisco, and I look at all the relationships, the opportunities, and even here, standing here today, it was all due to that fateful decision to fly out. But that does not give enough credit where credit is due. You see, that hustle is in all of our DNA. It's in my DNA. It's in me because the risks that my family took to cross 8,000 miles to this uncertain world, to drop everything that they had, to take all those risks, that courage, that grit, that grind, that hustle, it echoes through generations. And while they wanted a more secure path for their children, that doctor, that lawyer, that engineer, it was inevitable that we were going to follow suit with their pursuit of taking risks. I'm forever thankful and grateful for their hustle so I can continue to have mine. Thank you.